Process concept. Process is in the execution, and how many states are there? 5 states are there for the process: new, ready, running, waiting, and terminated. Now, this is the diagram for the process state. So, new, ready, running, then waiting, and then finally process is terminated. Now, in which sequence it goes? So firstly, definitely a new process will be there. So from the new process, the process will be admitted to the ready state. The process will be admitted to the ready state. So you can write here admitted to ready state. Now from ready state, where it will go? So from ready state, it will go to running. Means from ready queue, it will be going to running. Now who will be sending to run the process from the ready state? Did we discuss about dispatcher in the CPU scheduling?
No, sir, we didn't.
We discussed, I think you are forgetting. Anyway, it will be scheduler dispatch. Okay, so dispatcher will take the process from the ready state and it will send it to running state. Means, suppose that you have 5 processes coming together. Which process should go first for the running? So for that CPU scheduling, we did 4-5 algorithms: FCFS, SJF, round robin, priority, and all. So if you are following, suppose that FCFS, or if you are following SJF, or if you are following round robin or whatever algorithm you are following, which or who will be sending in that sequence? So that is the work of dispatcher. So who will be sending? Scheduler dispatch. Okay. Then from the running, if there is any interrupt, then it will go again ready state, and once that interrupt is over, it will go again in the running state. Interrupt. Another condition might come if from running it will go to waiting state. When it will go to waiting state? We did different CPU scheduling algorithms when it was going to waiting state. Anyone?
So it went to waiting state because of time quantum at times or because of priority?
Yes, because of priority or time quantum, or if you are following the SJF, then according to the shortest remaining time first. Isn't it?
Yes.
So these were the 3 conditions. So we can write input, output, or event wait. Some event is there because of that event wait. Okay. Once that event is completed, then again it will go into the ready state for the execution. So input, output, or event completion. Input, output, or event completion. Once that process was completed, means execution was completed, then process will be terminated. Means exit, you can write here exit. So this is the full process diagram. This is the full process state diagram, not process diagram, it's process states diagram. So please, if you want, you can make it. So when processes are in execution or when process will be executed, it will change the states. Okay. So what is the state of the process? What is the state of the process? So the state of process is, you can say, any part by the current activity of that process, defined in the part by current activity of that process. In which part actually it is, whether it's in execution part or waiting part or the ready states or whatever. So we can say the state of a process, is defined in part by the current activity by the current activity of that process. Okay. Now, what is running state? What is new state? What is waiting state? What is ready and terminated? So new, you must be knowing the process is being created. So whenever you have to define the new state, you can easily write the process is being created. The process is being created. Second, running states. So what is running? Whatever the instructions are there in that process that are currently executing. Whatever the instructions are there that are currently executing. Okay. So you can say instructions are being executed. Instructions are being executed. Then what is waiting state? Like suppose that process is in execution, and like just now we discussed, if some priority, due to some priority scheduling, some other event is coming which has to be executed first, or due to shortest job first, some event has to be executed first, or due to the priority, some event has to be executed first. All the process has arrived, but due to priority, some event has to be executed first. Or one more condition could be the time quantum is given. Each process can run for this much only time. So in that case also, if your process is longer than that time quantum, then it might have to be wait. So you can write the process is waiting for some event to occur. The process is waiting for some event to occur. Then next, ready state. So in this case, the process will be ready and it will be waiting. It should be assigned to a processor for the execution. Okay. So it will be in the ready state and it will be waiting for the dispatcher. The dispatcher should immediately dispatch that process for the execution. So you can write the process is waiting The process is waiting to be assigned to a processor. Then last one is terminated. The process has finished the execution. The process has finished the execution. Means now there is no execution time left. Process has completed. Has been completed. Next, in this, as I told you initially, we will be discussing two things. One is process in memory and one is process states. So these are the process states. Any confusion, anybody about the process state?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So now we will go to the next, that is process in the memory, means what, how it will be there in the memory. So you will have the text section, you will have stack, you will have data section, etc., etc. So I will just make one diagram. With that, you will be understanding in better way. So we can say process in memory. Process in memory. We'll just make one diagram. So first, you will have text section. Then you will have data section. Then you will have heap. I will explain what is heap. On at top, you will have stack with max value, and it will start from 0. Okay, so now when you talk about process, so your definition is the process is a program in execution, but sometimes it is more than the program code as well. Okay, so that thing you can say a text section where all those program code and more than that will be there. Okay, then what is data section? What is data section? In data section, global variables will be there. I will just write it here. Data section contains or keeps global variables. Okay. Then you will have a program counter and you have a process stack. So what is this process stack? Process stack. So process stack will contain the temporary data. Contains, okay, the temporary data. What is those temporary data? Like parameters, return address, local variables, etc., etc. And data section contains the global variables. So these two things you should be remembering. Stack are knowing stack and data section. Stack contains the temporary data and data section contains the global variable. Next one is heap. The process also contains the heap or include heap. So what is heap? So heap, you can say, is a memory that is dynamically allocated during process runtime. So when we allocate the memory dynamically during runtime, that is called heap. So you can say heap is memory that is dynamically allocated during process runtime. During process runtime. Okay, during process runtime. So this is all about process in memory and process states. Now another topic is there, another concept is there, that is called process control block. Process control block. So like each process will be represented or is represented in the operating system by PCB, that is process control block. It is also called task control block. It is also called task control block. So I will just write it here so that process control block. It is also called PCB. So we can write each process is represented each process is represented in the operating system by a process control block PCB, by a process control block, in bracket you can write PCB. It is also called task control block. It is also called task control block. Now what all are there in this process control block? What all are there in process control block? So you will have process state, you will have process counter, you will have process number, then CPU registers, then CPU scheduling information, memory management information, etc. etc. So I'll just make one small diagram for this. What all will be there in the PCB? You can write process state. Process number, program counter, then registers, then memory limits, then list of open files, and many more. Okay, so this is a diagram for PCB. Now process state, you know, process counter, you know, CPU registers, you know, CPU scheduling information we have already done. Memory management information we will be doing whenever that module will come up, memory management, and then input output state information and accounting information. One more concept I just wanted to check. Do you know what is thread? Have you heard this? Thread. Anyone?
So we're currently doing it in Java.
Java. In Java, what is thread?
Sir, it's a lightweight process.
Lightweight?
It's basically process.
Process. Okay. So lightweight process. So what happens in that? What actually you do in the thread? Like, suppose that you are running something, a word processor program. What does it mean? You can say a single thread of instruction is being executed. Single thread of instructions is being executed. Means one complete thing at a time you are executing for the word processor program. So whole one thread you will be executing. So you can say process, or you can say the process model discussed, whatever we have discussed so far, will be implied that a process is a program that performs a single thread of execution. Process is a program that performs a single thread of execution. Process is a program that performs a single thread of execution. Example, if you are running any processor, if you are running any other complete thing, complete code, execution code for any software or any, suppose that word processor, you can say that is a single thread is being executed. Like you told, thread is a lightweight process. Thread is a lightweight process, means one complete thing for performing one particular task, one complete process has to be executed, isn't it? So that's what you told, lightweight thread. Now you must have heard about single threading, multiple threading, etc., etc. So that we'll be discussing in detail later on. Right now you know what is this thread and how CPU switches from process to process. How CPU switches from process to process. So there'll be one execution state, there'll be ideal state. Okay, there'll be execution state and there'll be ideal state. And if there will be any interrupt or system call, it will be saved into the PCB, and then again, once that call is over, it will be executed again. So if next call is there, for the next process, there is a system call, next process will be uploaded immediately and save in the PCB and then reload state in the PCB1. So next is process scheduling. Next topic which we are going to do is process scheduling. Okay. Now in the process scheduling, what happens when you are doing the process scheduling actually, or what is process scheduler? So the process scheduler selects the available process, whatever is the available for the program execution on the CPU. Okay, for the program execution on the CPU. But what is the objective of this? What is the objective of process scheduling? So whenever you are doing the multi-programming, the objective of multi-programming means what is the need of scheduling, process scheduling. So you can correlate this with the multi-programming. So what is the objective of this? At all the time, some process should keep running in the CPU. Processes should keep running in the CPU so that we could utilize the CPU at max. So that we could utilize the CPU at max. Okay, so one thing is multi-programming in the process scheduling. Second thing, time sharing. What is objective of time sharing? The objective of time sharing will be key processes could switch easily. The processes could switch easily in the CPU so that users can interact each program while it's running. The processes could switch easily so that users could interact with each program when it's running. Okay. Now, when you are talking about scheduling queues in the process scheduler, okay, so you will have job queue. So firstly, in the process scheduling, what is process scheduler? Or what is the objective of this? So first point you can write, maximize the CPU use. Maximize the CPU use. Then second, like we talked about multiprocessing, so maximize the CPU use. Then time sharing. For that, quickly switch the processes. Quickly switch processes onto CPU for next execution. On CPU. Then what is process scheduler? What is process scheduler? Select among the available processes for next execution on CPU. You can write selects among available processes, selects among available processes for the next execution on CPU. For the next execution on CPU. Okay. Then what is scheduling queue and what all are there in that? So we'll write just scheduling queue. So in this, first one will be job queue. Second, you can say ready queue. Third, you can say device queue. So job queue set for or set up all processes in the system. What all are the jobs to be performed? Then ready queue set up all the processes residing in the main memory. Ready and waiting for the execution. Okay, and device queue set up all processes waiting for input output device. Set up all processes waiting for input output device. Like if you are giving the printout, so it will be waiting for the printer. So once it is allocated to that process, then it can print. What is job queue? Set up all processes in the system. Set up all processes in the system. And then ready queue, you can say set up all processes in main memory ready and waiting to be executed. Set up all processes in main memory ready and waiting for execution. So this is about process scheduling. In this there is a diagram as well, ready queue, how it is waiting for different devices and all those things. Now these things we will be doing in the next class. So that's it for the today. Thank you so much.